by to say hello to your friends.
From WOCA, The Source.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 6 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. We have the honor to be able to introduce you to Rabbi Stephen A. Fisdel. He's on the phone. He studied and lectured on the spiritual significance of the Kabbalah, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and early Jewish mysticism for more than 30 years. He's the founder of the Center for Jewish Mystical Studies in Albany, California. He served on the core faculty of the I think I have to say the Chochmat, Halev Institute for Jewish Learning in Berkeley, California, and he's on the phone to talk about his book, The Meditation Practice Within Kabbalah. And I just hope he can hear me well. We were trying to fix something wrong with the audio earlier. Rabbi Stephen Fisdel. Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning.
Can you hear me better now than before we went on the air?
Excuse me?
Are you able to hear me better?
A little, but it's not very clear.
Really? Okay.
I'll do the best I can.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on the air with us this morning. The whole Kabbalah thing has been something that has elevated, I guess, for maybe the Gentile world, you might say. I don't know, but it's a little bit more mystical for some reason lately. I don't know exactly what happened.
I don't really know.
No. Okay. Well, maybe we could just start with Kabbalah 101. What is Kabbalah? The Kabbalah.
What is it? Oh, Kabbalah is actually the Jewish mystic tradition that goes back for actually several millennium. The major focus of the Kabbalah actually is on the nature of reality, creation, and particularly a lot of emphasis on consciousness and the nature and function of consciousness in human experience.
And is it part of the Torah?
No, it's based on the Torah, but it's sort of an auxiliary branch.
Oh, okay, but it has roots that go back as far as the Torah. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I think the roots of Kabbalah go all the way back to the prophetic experience.
And is this where the prophets or whoever you would say, like the religious leaders of those days, did they have to study the Kabbalah in order to be able to do what they did?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, there were actually prophetic schools where a prophet would train disciples specifically in doing the meditative practices, and the meditative practices were key to reaching the level of prophetic experience.
And would one have to be touched by God? I put that in quotes just in case I'm using it the wrong way, but I mean, would one have to be touched by someone in an ordained way, I guess, in order to be able to do this, or is this something anybody can do?
Well, it sort of works both ways. In the prophetic period, there was both. There were some prophets that were sort of touched by God, but there were other prophets that sort of worked their way up toward that. I would say in general, to be able to experience anything within Kabbalah, you're dealing with higher levels of consciousness, which involves a certain amount of work and effort on one's own part, and also a very strong spiritual connection on the other hand.
And your involvement with Kabbalah, how far back does that go?
At least 35 years.
So you were studying to be a rabbi, and then somehow became a student of the Kabbalah. Is that right?
No, it sort of worked the other way around.
Oh, okay. Okay. So,
I developed an interest in Kabbalah when I was about 18 or 19 years old.
Okay, and because of why did you develop an interest?
Oh, Well, it actually happened when I was 18. I found a copy of the only novel that was written by Martin Buber called "For the Sake of Heaven," which was basically about a Jewish mystic and their experience. And I read it and resonated very strongly with it. And then I made it a deliberate point to investigate Kabbalah and to find a way to study it.
Okay, so define the word mysticism. I want to make sure that I know what we're talking about here.
Oh, mysticism is really when you pull yourself out of what I call normative consciousness, everyday consciousness, and you focus your attention on higher levels of experience that deal with a deeper sense of self-understanding and also a deeper focus on the divine and on what can be experienced at higher levels.
And are there any shortcuts to achieving that, or is this something really what's deliberate or what am I trying to say here? When you really have to dedicate yourself to this. There's no shortcuts, right?
There are no real shortcuts. But what I would say is that the easier way of approaching things is from the experiential, from the meditation first, and then moving farther into the structure of any kind of mysticism. Kabbalah for sure works that way.
When you do the meditation, is it more subconscious or more conscious?
The meditation,
yes, sir.
It's basically very conscious. So is the experience. But you can reach what I would call unconscious and or subconscious experience at the same time. It can come together. One example would be I could be meditating on, say, one of the names of God or an attribute of God, and in the meditation reach a level where I'm actually experiencing something that relates to that dimension of God. And that would be on a conscious level because I'm aware of what's happening. But then what may follow is I may go to sleep that night or the next night and have dreams that are connected to the same thing.
Oh, wow. And that's a direct result of that, not your mind just playing games with you, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's a direct connection.
So can I ask you this? It sounds like the way you describe it, it's almost like when you do the meditations, you go on somewhat of a journey, even if it is a mental journey, but you're still going on a journey. When you come back from that journey, are you enriched in wisdom? Is your wisdom level, if you could measure wisdom, like did you get another ounce of wisdom somehow or anything? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. I think that's in Kabbalah, that's one of the major objectives, is that you come back with another level of wisdom. That the whole experience of Kabbalah, particularly on a meditation level, has that in mind. It's the experience enriches the person. Connection with God opens up another door internally.
Do you know, I hope I'm not going out on too much of a limb here, but I've often thought that if we reincarnate, if we come back, that wisdom must be the thing that comes with us, because knowledge doesn't. You don't come back,
right.
You don't know a language, you don't know how to play piano, you don't know how to fix a car, but maybe you know how to be polite, or maybe you know how to be generous. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that, my personal opinion is that the whole purpose of life in the life process is what we gain what we gain on a soul level. What we've learned in our lifetime impacts our soul, and that's a direct link to soul growth. And as the soul grows, that's something that's inherent, that keeps developing. And if we get reincarnated, obviously we're reincarnated at the level where the soul is at.
See, and as far as meditation goes, I've often thought that if I were going to learn meditation, I would rather learn it from a wise religious person like yourself, than from somebody who's just understands the rudimentary aspects of meditation itself, because I think there's a need for a guide. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. In Kabbalist practice, the basic tenet is that you need to have a teacher, particularly in the early stages. And then as you progress, it also helps to have someone that what they refer to as chevruta, someone who's also studying and meditating to work with you. So you have someone to guide you, but also someone to share the experience with, to process it with. And that's a really important. That's a very, very, very important.
I must tell you, I'm so fascinated by this conversation. I'm so glad you can hear me too, Rabbi. We need to take a little break. Rabbi Stephen A. Is it Fisdel? Am I saying your name right?
Fisdel, yes.
Fisdel, okay. Rabbi Fisdel will be back in just a bit. Let's check the weather, and we'll be back as soon as we can because I want to continue this. And we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today and cool with a high of 59 to 63, then mainly clear and chilly tonight. Lows ranging from 36 in the coldest inland spots to about 44 along the coast. Mostly sunny tomorrow and a little bit milder, the high 62 to 66. For Saturday, a nice day with sunshine and some clouds, high 65 to 69. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
All right, 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Rabbi Stephen A. Fisdel is on the phone. He has written a book called The Meditation Practice Within Kabbalah. Rabbi, did I ask you where you are? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco. How's the weather?
Well, we're having a rainstorm, which is welcome.
Yeah, I was just on the phone with somebody else from San Francisco. She's an author, and so she's not too far from you. So, the meditation of Kabbalah, is that for everybody? Well, that's a dumb question. I mean, could I do it? I'm not Jewish. Would I be able to do this?
Yes. The Kabbalist meditation focuses on our relationship with ourself and with God. So this is basically predicated universally. Anybody can do this. When I wrote my book, the meditation practice within Kabbalah, my intent was to explain both what the concept was in each of the various aspects of Jewish meditation, and also to mainly provide a how-to book. So it can be done by anybody.
And do most rabbis do the meditation?
Regrettably, no.
Oh, they don't.
No, it's true in most religious traditions. A lot of clergy, are focused on religion, but not necessarily on mysticism.
Okay, and so as with the mysticism part of this, you come back with information that is. If you had like prophetic information, like the future.
That shows up from time to time. Since reality is multidimensional, there are so many different levels. When we go into meditation, you can end up, at least in Kabbalist practice, on any number of different levels. So depending on what level you end up with, it determines what kind of experience and information you're going to come back with.
All right, this is going to sound like a weird question, but I'm going to ask it, and then I'll explain why I asked it. Does meditation burn more calories than non-meditation? It's a weird question, I know, but I have a reason for asking.
Could you repeat the question?
When you meditate, are you burning more calories than when you're not meditating?
I don't know.
Well,
I know the brain is working harder.
Okay, so maybe a better way to ask the question: can you become fatigued or exhausted through meditation?
And that's not been my experience. Actually, my experience has been the opposite. I get energized, and I found that's the case with most of the people I work with.
Oh, okay. Well, let me explain why I asked. Because we had a guest. The guest was a psychic, and the psychic was 20 minutes into a 30-minute chat, and he was answering questions from people on the phone, psychic questions. And he said, "Can we stop now because I'm getting exhausted? It's taking too much energy." So I said, "Sure, no problem." So the rest of the 10 minutes we just kind of talked, but I never realized that when you go into that realm or whatever you do, that it would actually be more, I guess, consume more energy of your physical self.
Oh, well, that's because meditation and doing the type of work he's doing, where he's doing readings for people, that's two really different phenomena.
Oh, okay.
The what he's doing does require a great deal of mental energy and physical energy, and can be exhausting, because there you're dealing with what I call going to common ground, where he's elevating his consciousness to connect with people on the other side, for instance, who are coming down from their level to meet on a certain level to exchange communication, and it's sort of a strain on both sides.
It sounds like it is, yeah. So the book is called The Meditation Practice Within Kabbalah, and again, this is from the layperson as well as the well practiced rabbi, or could it be for a priest, or who else is it for?
Well, the book has two functions. One, to introduce Jewish meditation practice to anyone who's interested. And oftentimes people from other spiritual traditions who are experienced meditators or have done meditation before find this very useful and helpful, because meditation and meditation experience basically reinforces each other no matter what tradition you come from. That I've done Sufi meditation, Christian meditation, Buddhist meditation, in addition to doing the Kabbalist work, and they sort of inform each other.
So that it would be to presume, I don't know if maybe I'm wrong about this, that Jesus, being a rabbi, would have done meditation.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, there were a number of very important rabbis during Jesus' time who were sort of pioneers in some of the early forms of Jewish mysticism.
In the book, you kind of give some instructions on how to do this. Could you share a little bit with the audience? There was one I remember where you have to find a piece of paper and think of a letter. It was a Hebrew letter or Hebrew number or something.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, a meditation on that level would be something that would involve focus. If you're using a Hebrew letter, to take a Hebrew letter, to hold it in front of you, and to focus on the letter, which can be done several ways. You can focus the letter as an image. You could outline the letter with your, go use your eyes to outline the letter. You could actually picture moving the letter around, moving the letter out or in, where you're inhaling and exhaling the letter. There are a number of different techniques. If you do that in and of itself will lead you into another level of consciousness.
And would it have to be a Hebrew letter?
No. Hebrew letters are useful that way, even if you don't know Hebrew at all, because of the structure of the letters. But I think it would work. It would work with almost any alphabet.
Do you put yourself into a physical place, like a quiet room, or maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To meditate effectively, one requires quiet. One also requires, to a certain extent, tranquility. By that I mean you're pretty clear that there's not going to be any external disruption. nobody running into the room, or traffic outside, some truck blowing their horn. But I also feel that it's necessary for quiet, and though it's not absolutely necessary, I generally use a candle in the room to focus energy, and also some incense that helps relax the mind or elevate consciousness.
Do you know, whenever, I don't know if this is true for everybody, but I'm guessing it is, whenever I'll speak for myself, have like a problem that can't be solved, and I'm thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and all of a sudden, like in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and I have the answer, or at least an idea of what the answer might be.
Yeah.
Are we, when we do that, are we subconsciously tapping into a form of meditation?
Yes. Because what's happening is similar or parallel. That when we're asleep, the soul can often leave the body altogether, go off into another realm of consciousness, and then acquire or find what it's looking for or needs. And then when it comes back into the body, the soul sort of downloads the information to the subconscious. And then what happens is we'll experience, either when we wake up or later in the day or possibly in the middle of the week, the cognition that was downloaded. So we're retrieving information and experience from other levels, and then it takes a little time for the brain neurologically to filter the information and down to where we become consciously aware of it.
Wow. This is a fascinating conversation. The book is called The Meditation Practice Within Kabbalah. Rabbi Stephen Fisdel is the author of the book. We've got about 2.5 minutes left, so I want to give the book away, and I want to make sure we get the information so we can buy the book. So call me right now, and if you're the first person to get through, you'll be the one with the book, The Meditation Practice Within Kabbalah. The rest of us have to go buy it. Rabbi, could you give us like a website? Is it on Amazon? How do we get the book?
Both ways. You can get it on Amazon.com, or you can get it through my website, which is www.classicalkabbalist.org.
Okay, and for the listeners, could you spell Kabbalist?
Oh, yes, I will. KABBALIST.
So classicalkabbalist.org. Let me give this book away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Jim.
Jim, you got the book. It'll be waiting for you at the station.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. This is a fascinating topic. One real quick question. When we go for hypnosis, is the hypnotist taking us to a state of meditation?
No. The hypnotist is taking you to a state of altered consciousness. But a meditative state actually runs deeper, well, depending how you look at it. You could see it as deeper into oneself or into a higher level of consciousness. The two seem to work hand in hand in meditative experience. That the further you go into yourself, the higher your consciousness gets vaulted.
Wow. Well, what a fascinating conversation. I am not even a kindergarten student when it comes to this subject, so I'm preschool, and you're like, a professor at this, so it's an honor to be able to say we at least chatted about it at a level that I could understand anyway. Rabbi Stephen A. Fisdel, thank you so much. Be careful with that storm over there, and come back anytime.
Thank you so much.
All right. We will take a little break. We'll be right back and have fun with Joe in just about 10 minutes. This is The Source, WOCA.
Activate the pleasure centers in your brain. Here's a bad habit that can cut your chances of advancement right in half. Gossiping. Only go shopping in high heels. That uses up enough brain power that you're less likely to give in to impulse purchases that's way out of your price range.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss